If ever there was a perfect place to hide a secret life from the world, Rio Vista, Texas is a standout choice. Rural properties separating neighbours by big yards. This is another house of horrors in this sad, sordid tale of the Turpin 13. By the year 2000, David, Louise, and 8 of their kids were living in this home, isolated from family who they'd never see in person again. Behind closed doors, their cruelty and severe neglect had well and truly begun to escalate. What did you think?
Thought it was going to be great. Our kids are finally going to have some other kids to play with. We're out in the country. We're by ourselves and lonely, and we thought we were going to have some nice neighbors.
Ricky and Shelley Vineyard and their daughters, Ashley and Barbara, spent a decade living right across this gravel road from the Turpins in Rio Vista. Even with distance separating them, it was clear there was something disturbing about their new neighbours.
Ashley would go over there and play with them. I think that she may have been the only friend that they ever had.
Right. Well, she
all the other kids would make fun of them because they said they smelled bad, they were dirty, they had weird haircuts, they wore weird clothes.
So at the start, she was allowed to play with them?
Yes, until it got weird. And then I had to pull her back. I had come across the kids out there with Ashley. One of the younger girls looked at the older girl, and then I noticed how white her hands were. At first, I thought they were gloves. And I said, whoa, I thought you had gloves on there for a minute. And she goes, you wash to the wrist or else you're wasting water. And the way she spoke was really, strange, like she might be a little slow.
She was telling you that she'd been told not to wash
past the wrist.
Above the wrist.
Or you were wasting water.
When the Turpins came here to rural Texas, they had 8 children. By the time they left, 10 years later, they'd added another 4. It was also here that the kids' horrible existence was almost uncovered when the eldest child plucked up the courage to run away. She was picked up a little way down this road by a neighbour, but sadly, due to the extreme malnourishment and her lack of education, everyone simply thought she was mentally challenged and she was returned to her parents.
After that happened, you started seeing the kids outside again during the daylight and in the evenings, and then they'd pull them back in, and then after a couple of weeks, they withdrew them again.
You two never thought for a moment to pick up the phone and maybe...
Oh, absolutely.
Maybe ring someone?
We thought about it, but then again, you're out in the country and you mind your own business, and you figure they want their business kept to themselves also, and you don't realize what you're seeing. Evil is very deceptive. It can look good from a surface if you don't get in there too deep.
By 2010, as David and Louise Turpin's secret perversions were beginning to become more obvious in Texas, they moved across country to California. What they left behind is something Ricky Vineyard will never be able to erase from his memory.
We walked off into the house. Desks were lined up where they had the little homeschool. They had a giant whiteboard, but the house smelled of funk. All of the closets had padlocks. The refrigerators had padlocks. All the cabinets had padlocks. Everything in the house was locked down.
They had brand new bikes sitting on the carport, and they just sat there and rotted. Never got played with.
Yeah, it was like mental torture where you put the toy in front of a child, but you can't play with it.
Were there beds?
Yeah, there were beds. There were bunk beds, but there were ropes on the bunk beds.
Some of them didn't even have mattresses anymore, just looked like the mattresses had rotted.
There were dead cats. While we were wading through this mess, there were rats jumping up. I like to think I'm fairly clean, but man, that right there was disgusting. It was a house of horrors, a true house of horrors. It was right up under our nose, and we didn't see it.
In hindsight, then, you now think you definitely should have told somebody.
Absolutely.
Oh yeah, if we saw it again, we'd recognize it for what it is.
What that is, for police officer Allison Jacobs, is a missed opportunity to alert authorities to children in danger.
She should heal. She should move on.
Having saved kidnapping victim J.C. Dugard back in 2009, she believes part of the responsibility lies with neighbours like the Vineyards to raise the alarm if there's any fears or doubts.
It's a fine line and it's a very difficult gray area, but it all comes back to not ignoring your gut. Humans have great instincts and intuition, and we choose to ignore it, and I don't know why.
Do you feel a bit guilty now?
Oh, absolutely.
Oh, yes. Yeah.
Absolutely.
People are so afraid to be wrong. If you call on your neighbor because you think something's a little suspicious, and if someone follows up, nothing's wrong. Well, at least you tried. You did your part. That's all you can do is your part.
Coming up, searching for reasons why.
You reckon they found some cult?
What else would make you do something like that? That's just pure evil.
But a frantic phone call
Can someone help me?
leads to help at last.
Why do you go through all the pain and all the rest to have 13 children and then treat them like that?
That's next on 60 Minutes.